we have played the game. Challenge Tier 3 with one Gear 12 character. We have run the test accounts. So you might have to have these guys at Gear 12 to get it done. Honestly, it just might need to be Gear 12. We've tried so many different things. Oh! Oh! And the answer is clear. I believe the Executor is the most bang for your buck, the most return on investment you can get. The perfect way to farm Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes is something that is known and available to all of us. And we are going to start exploring that today with my perfect farming guide, part 1. A farming guide that not only am I publishing for you, I'm going to start my own Nooch2 Perfect account and farm this farming guide myself. Well, greetings and hello there, everybody. It is me, your beloved Star Wars dad, Nooch2Good, and yes, we have made so many accounts on this channel. We have rushed Galactic Legends. We have done I don't know what are we doing now? Lord Vader, farmed assault battles so many different ways, found so many shortcuts, found min-maxes, found where you can't do the min-max. We've had a great time doing all of this on the channel, and for a long time now, I've been trying to figure out a way to make a farming guide that takes us all the way through the entire game, beginning to end. But it's just, it's such a large endeavor that I could never find a way to tackle it. We're going to start doing that today. And not only are we going to start doing that today, we're going to start this at part 1, Nooch2 Perfect, the perfect farming guide in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, part 1, the beginning. I am starting a brand new account on this channel on or around May the 4th. That's kind of when we start new accounts around here. I'm going to call it Nooch2 Perfect, and I'm going to farm this perfect farming guide at the beginning of the game. Let's talk about a couple more things before we get going here. Of course, the journey is centered around the Executor right here. I just have no other beginning path to talk about. I think the Executor is so important. It's so important. When people say important, it drives me nuts. Let me know. Type important in comments if it drives. It is so important to farm the Executor, to get yourself in Fleet Arena, getting those crystals every single day. Nothing else in this game measures up to the amount of crystals you can get from Fleet Arena, and that's why we're going to start this perfect farming guide with the idea that we're farming toward the Executor, and we're building it around it, assault battles and some grand arena farming. Let's talk about assault battles for 1 second here. We're going to build all of this assault battle farming around the idea that Challenge Tier 1 is going to be the primary goal. Challenge Tier 1 here, where we're getting all, I can never remember what these are called. I don't know what these are called. Slicing materials for, I can't remember them. I just can't. I've been playing this game for 9 years. Wait. Anyway, these 3 gold pieces are slicing materials, and your Kyrotex over there, and a couple of Zetas. This Challenge Tier 1 of Assault Battles is so important to the long-term health of your roster. It's really difficult to measure how important, and I'm going to say that Challenge Tiers 2 and 3, this is most assault battles, by the way. We'll get into this as there are a couple of assault battles we're going to farm here that have better than these type of rewards. But regardless, Challenge Tier 2 and 3 are equally as important. But my focus on this initial farming path through the game as we go through the perfect farming guide front to back is going to be around Challenge Tier 1 primarily. Challenge Tier 1 primarily, with Challenge Tier 2 kind of behind it as an extra. We're going to hit some Challenge Tier 2s, we're going to hit some Challenge Tier 3s on this, but I'm not going to make it our initial goal. I think if you're hitting Challenge Tier 1 and occasionally getting a Challenge Tier 2, you're going to set yourself up for a lot of success and a lot of extra gear that you would not otherwise have on your roster, plus a lot of teams that'll benefit you short and long term. And with all that said, let's get into this. A lot of you guys know where we're going to get started here. We're going to get started with the Imperial Troopers. I said this early. I've said this often. I've said it many times. I think the Troopers should be one of the 2 starting teams for every roster in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. You've got to have the Veers lead, you've got to have Admiral Piet being farmed, and you've got to have Range Trooper. That is your core 3 on that Imperial Trooper team. Then you're going to fill it in. I'm going to go with Snow Trooper and Stark in this case because they're the cheapest ones. They're low-hanging fruit. You can go get a Death Trooper. You can farm a Dark Trooper and Moff Gideon. They're really great, but Dark Trooper and Moff Gideon cost you a whole bunch of, they're 400 Kyrotechs each to get them fully upgraded to relics. So I'm going with the Snow Trooper and Stark because they're only 100 Kyrotechs each. You can farm up that team much easier. And we're looking at Gar Saxon and Imperial Super Commando for the Forest Moon Assault Battles specifically. So you see the Assault Battles popped up here, Forest Moon and Rebel Roundup. These are there because this is the main goal of this trooper team. It also feeds into other stuff as we go. But the main goal here is to get us into the challenge tier levels of these two assault battles. With these teams at not max levels, you're gonna take Piet here to Relic 8 for your Executor, right? That's gonna happen. You're gonna take Piet to Relic 8. The others, I think that Gear 12 is the max that you need for them. And really, I'll be honest with you, you guys watch me do Forest Moon. I think you could do Forest Moon with Veers, Piet, and Range Trooper under Gear 12, like Gear 11, and you can have your Gar Saxon and Imperial Super Commando, maybe Gear 7 or 8, and they get that damage immunity, and we just ride it all the way through. You can go watch me play that. I'll try to put a pin up for you as well, but the main purpose of these Imperial Troopers early on is to get you through these assault battles and get your rewards going. Plus, they're a lot of fun. This is one of the most fun teams to play with in the game. They do a lot of work in early rounds of Grand Arena. I know, you're facing giant rosters. When you don't face a giant roster, or you get an opportunity with somebody that cheeses their defense, they're going to do a lot of work for you in Grand Arena, and you need Admiral Piet here to go get your Executors. So we're starting with the Imperial Troopers, and right behind them, right close behind them, are the Phoenix. And yeah, I know Hera's the leader. Captain Rex is the engine. Captain Rex is the Valvoline. He's the oil that makes this engine work. This Phoenix team is just poo. I don't know what else to say. The Phoenix team is absolute poo without Captain Rex on the team. So we're gonna farm this team. Now, for Sabine and Chopper down there, it takes you a little bit longer to get them. Maybe Chopper's available in the Cantina store. Sabine's a regular energy farm. You can grab Ezra or Zeb quicker than Sabine. So maybe you sub them in there till you get to Sabine at 7 stars, but this is the perfect team. Not only is this a team that will last you all the way through the end game, and as time moves on, maybe just through the late game, this team's gonna last you for a long time in Galaxy Heroes. You're gonna be using it all the way to the end of the game for a long, long time. And plus, these pieces are gonna fall into all future farms for us in future, Nooch 2 Perfect farming guides. It's gonna get you 2 assault battles. Now, the Phoenix are not going to be as good in these 2 assault battles as the Imperial Troopers were in theirs. The Imperial Troopers are going to do great in those 2 assault battles at not max levels. The Phoenix, even at relic levels, you're looking at basically challenge tier 1 of these 2 assault battles, maybe challenge tier 2 of military might. And I have gotten through challenge tier 2 of Secrets and Shadows with the Phoenix, like at relic 5. But it's not a guarantee. There's a lot of RNG randomness associated with that. So, hey, but I love the Phoenix. It's a team that's going to last you for a long time. It's a team that's going to overlap with a lot of other farms in the game. It's a team you're going to love on your roster. I love the Phoenix. Imperial Troopers and Phoenix as your first 2 teams. This is the way. This is the way. I was going to say it's the way you want to go, but this is the way. Coming in number 3, hey, the Geonosians. We talk about this all the time. The Geonosians are really important to an early game roster to get you into a Geonosis Territory Battles guild. If you go watch my videos on how to find a good guild, one of the primary things there, they want to see that you're getting your energy every day. You got to get your 600 tickets every day for raids. But a great guild, a great early guild is going to be doing Geonosis Territory Battles, and the Geonosians have a special mission every single round of Geonosis. They're in there constantly all the way through it. And then they also get you Watt shards. One of those special missions gets you Watt Tambor shards. You're going to need Watt Tambor for down the road. You need them on your roster. You can go buy them. There is a Lightspeed bundle that comes out every now and then. And I guess I should say that too. This is the perfect guide. You buy a Lightspeed bundle for like a Supreme Leader Kylo Ren in the middle of doing this. Go finish Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. That's important. But I'm just showing you the way you should start the game in a vacuum where we're just looking at these. So there you go. So, yes, farm this, yeah. What am I saying? Let me reset a little bit here. Farm the Geonosians as an early team. Not only that, they're a really, really good performer in Carbonite Grand Arena. Again, I know you guys are facing some people with Galactic Legends. I've watched people, if somebody's got Galactic Legends and they're in Carbonite and they're playing, they probably don't really know a lot of the ins and outs of the game, and they really need some help, and maybe they're on this channel right now watching. join our channel, watch us, we'll give you some help, I promise. But the Geonosians do a lot of work on defense in those early rounds of Grand Arena in addition to that. And also, you can farm their ships. I'm not gonna delve into ships much in this. You didn't see ships in the diagram. Basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna farm the ships that are needed for the Executor, plus the Punishing One and the Xanadu Blood, which are not officially required, but you need them in your end game fleet. Xanadu Blood, Punishing One, and your Cad Bane, of course, with that. On the side, you know, I'm looking at having those ships are going to go with my Executrix or maybe my Endeavor. I'm not Endurance. Sorry, I'm not sure. Ships are going to be kind of a work a work in progress for me as the roster moves forward. So I'll be working on ships. What I'm thinking is I'll have the Executrix early on because you got to get the Executrix to get you those Zetas from the ability mat challenges. Get that up and running with the Bounty Hunter ships. Maybe I'll farm some Geo ships. They're pretty easy to farm in the Galactic War Store to go along with my Geos as I farm my Geos. And coming up next to the other side of the board, it's time for your Poncho Bros and your Qui-Gon Jinn with his Omicron. Now, just take a note up here. Qui-Gon Jinn is the leader. He's got to have the Omicron on him for this to work. This doesn't work if he doesn't have an Omicron on him. So keep that in mind as you're taking a look at that. So Qui-Gon Jinn with the Poncho Bros. That's Master Qui-Gon and Padawan Obi-Wan. Then we're going to throw in Jedi Knight Anakin and Baby Ahsoka or Snips in there. This is going to be another great Grand Arena team for you. It's also going to be the team we're going to use in Ground War to get through Challenge Tier 1. We may have to get General Kenobi up, and I'm going to probably get General Kenobi up anyway. We'll see how it goes in Ground War. I will have to get... I'm going to take it back a little bit. I will have to get Grandmaster Yoda to go through Challenge Tier 1 of Ground War. He's a requirement there. So we will be grabbing Grandmaster Yoda. This team right here is perfectly capable of getting him. We'll be grabbing Grandmaster Yoda along the way and getting him out there for Ground War especially. But this team right here in Grand Arena, another great defensive stalwart or a team you can take on offense and do a lot of great things. But not to mention the Poncho Bros. Just Master Qui-Gon and Padawan Obi-Wan over there are going to take you to Duel of the Fates right here. Duel of the Fates. The rewards in Duel of the Fates, I didn't upload a screenshot because it just kind of goes on for days. These rewards... I'm going to say they're at least twice as good, probably 3 times as good. I don't know, 100 times. They're way better rewards than you get in all the other assault battles. Duel of the Fates and the Peridea Patrol, which we'll get to later, are way better rewards than all of the other assault battles in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, and it's worth farming Master Qui-Gon and Padawan Obi-Wan to get this assault battle open up to you in Galaxy Heroes. I'm going to get them to Relic 7 at least, and if I'm feeling saucy, maybe we'll go Relic 9 and get that unlocked, but that's going to be really, really important to you want to talk about pushing your roster and really making something special happen. Farming the Poncho Bros is going to be really, really strong on your roster in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. And well, I had something else to say here. I know this might also lead into a negotiator farm, so okay, we're back into ships again. Ships kind of weave their way in and out of this. So as we farm this team, and I probably farm General Kenobi on the side, I'm going to have to decide along the way, do I go get the Malevolence as my first fleet or the Negotiator as my first secondary fleet outside of the Executor? It's highly likely to be the Negotiator because I've already got these Galactic Republic being farmed here, these guys. So we'll see. I'm gonna feel that out as I go. But as far as for these 2 assault battles, this team up here is going to do some work for us. We will have to get Grandmaster Yoda to mix in there as well. Let's keep taking this along. Hey, the Sith and the Empire. Emperor Palpatine, Darth Vader, Thrawn, Mara Jade, kind of the crux of an early game Empire team that you can put out there in Grand Arena and Territory Wars. It's a really, really, really good team. But you can see I've also mixed in there the Sith Triumvirate. So let me say this for everybody out there. If you were a person or are a person that chose to either farm Jedi Knight Revan and Darth Revan first, and or you bought their bundles and you're farming those teams, I have zero argument with you. I could have very easily included them in this farm as well. What I chose to do was to do something different and have farms that kind of melded together a little bit better And I might settle, you know, Jedi Knight Revan will get you through Places of Power Challenge Tier 2. I don't think that this team up here, even with Grandmaster Yoda, will get me through Challenge Tier 2 of Ground War. I meant Ground War. So I think a Challenge Tier 1's my limit there with this team. We'll see. Maybe we can test it and figure it out, but I just don't think so. As far as looking at Places of Power, Challenge Tier 1 for sure. If we go with Palpatine and the Sith Triumvirate and Vader, I think we can get through. We'll get through Challenge Tier 1. Maybe Challenge Tier 2. We'll have to try that out. We're not going to get through Challenge Tier 3 with that. You really got to have Bas Lashan. Darth Malak is kind of a key to that. So we're going to take this one probably to Challenge Tier 2, but I mixed in my Sith and Empire. This is basically 2 teams. We're looking at 2 teams here that I can use in Grand Arena, Territory Wars, on down the path. You're going to need maybe a couple other Sith. I'll be honest with you. This Sith Triumvirate, Traya, Nihilus, and Scion with a little Savage Opress mixed in. We'll get to that shortly. That team, that 4-person team, you can just work with that team for quite a while in the game in Grand Arena, and it can even do some work for you in Proving Grounds as well down the road. So there you go. That Sith and Empire team is what we'll be farming here as part of our beginner farm, part 1, the beginning of Nooch 2 Perfect. Then on to the Bounty Hunters. Of course, this is the team that we are farming directly for the Executor. Bosk, Boba Fett, Dengar, Cad Bane, and IG-88 are required to farm the Executor. And I should mention as well over here, Darth Vader is required for the Executor. You've got to get his TIE Advance. You got to have Darth Vader farmed as well. So, and Piet, we looked at earlier, is also required for the Executor. Now we're going to farm to supplement this team, Mando and Greef Karga. We have to farm them anyway, because in order to unlock Beskar Mando, who pilots the Razor Crest, which is required for the Executor, we have to farm Mando and Greef Karga. They're easy farms right now. They moved over to the Galactic War Store for you and me. Mando and Greef Karga, very simple, easy farms in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. They're going to be way better on this team than you see Cad Bane and IG-88. Cad Bane and IG-88 don't really have a great place in this game on character teams. IG-88 comes in later, maybe on a Dr. Aphra team, but that's one of the very last teams you farm in this game, I mean, to be realistic. So that the 5-some right there is really the core team that you're going to be using in Grand Arena and or other game modes. The other 2 are there because you have to get them for Executor. Now I'll say it again, Cad Bane not officially required for Executor, but you got to have him in his Xanadu blood or the Executor's not going to work properly. And then speaking of the Razor Crest being required and Beskar Mando, we're going to farm Beskar Mando. We already saw Greef Karga and Mando that are part of this farm. The other part of that farm is Cara Dune, Queel, and IG-11. What do you do with this team right now? I'm not really sure. This team doesn't have a great place in the early game. It just doesn't really, you know, Beskar Mando, you might be able to slide him into a couple bounty hunter slots so he gives that damage immunity in the right situation. But quite honestly, these characters, you know, Cara Dune later fits onto a Mon Mothma team. Queel and IG-11 later fit onto a Dash Rendar team, or maybe a Saw Gerrera, maybe just a Dash Rendar team. Beskar Mando slides into like a Fennec Shan team later, or you could do some other stuff with him just to get that damage immunity, but not a lot of uses for this team right here. But you have to farm them to get the Razor. You have to farm Beskar Mando to get the Razor Crest activated. That means you have to farm these characters along with Mando and Greef Karga to get Beskar Mando unlocked in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. By the way, for the Razor Crest, every blasted time you see it available in the Fleet Arena store, buy it. Always keep like 1,200 Fleet Arena currency available, even when you're buying Zetas. Always keep 1,200 Fleet Arena currency available to purchase the Razor Crest and General Grievous when you see them pop up in that Fleet Arena store. That's how you farm those 2 characters, and that's how you're gonna farm those 2 characters unless you buy them somewhere else. There's no other way to do it. That's just how you do it, so keep that in mind as you're playing the game. A couple more teams here. Now we're going to take a little turn toward Grand Arena a little bit. And I just mentioned Savage Opress to go with my Sith Triumvirate, the Traya, Nihilus, and Scion. Savage Opress, if you get the Omicron on Traya and you get the Omicron on Savage Opress here, that's like an end game team. That team is still used in the end game by every player in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, the Traya lead team. It's a great, and before you get Traya on the roster, you can use Savage Opress as a solo artist, which is also how you're going to use Wampa. I know I had the question the other day, and I still think it's a fair question. Is Wampa a required farm in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes for beginning rosters? And I do think it's fair to ask, because later down the line, as we move forward, you know, Nooch 2 Perfect Part 2, the mid-game, whatever we call it, Wampa is required for Jedi Knight Luke, and that's going to be part of that. I promise you, that'll be part of that. Wampa's so good. Like, when I started to look at it, I was like, I went through my history, I'm like, Wampa beats all sorts of teams that you see placed on defense in Carbonite. All sorts of teams. We were beating Phasmas, we were beating Bounty Hunters, we're beating Geos 3v3, we're beating, later on you beat Mon Mothma, you beat Iden Versio, Wampa, just regular teams, some old Republic teams just thrown on the field, because Wampa does a lot of work in Grand Arena, and I love her with her Zeta and Omicron. You only need the Zeta that goes to the Omicron. Don't buy the other Wampa, or the other Zeta. I love these two characters. They're great solo characters early on. Later, Savage slides in that Traya team, but Wampa stays by herself the whole time. And then the final piece here, and I'm going to back up a little bit. Let's go back to our Poncho Bros, and that's not the Poncho Bros. Let's go back to the Poncho Bros. Master Qui-Gon and Padawan Obi-Wan are not quite yet double shard farmable as of the date of this video. Now, you could be watching this, you could very well be watching this down the road. They will be double shard farmable sometime in May, and I think you should hold off on farming them until we get to that point. It's going to be a month. They're Cantina farms. You're going to get them both done in like a month and a half from scratch. So let's hold off on Master Qui-Gon and Padawan Obi-Wan until they're double shard farmable, and the same thing can be said for Captain Enoch, Captain Enoch up there, Death Trooper Peridea, and Night Trooper over there. These guys will be double shard farmable sometime in September or October, and that's when my farm for these guys will begin. And we're going to put together an Imperial Remnant team with them, and this is that second assault battle I talked about early on when I talked about the Duel of the Fates assault battle with Master Qui-Gon and Padawan Obi-Wan. The Peridea Patrol assault battle is a second place. Is a second assault battle that has rewards that are through the roof, way better than any other assault battle. We're going to be farming the Peridea Pals. That's what I call this top three there, the Peridea Pals. So we can go in there and play the Peridea Patrol and get the Peridea Patrol assault battle rewards, because they are tremendous. TIE Fighter Pilot is required for the Executive Farm, so we're going to have him anyway. We'll throw him in there because he is an Imperial Remnant. Stormtrooper, I added as a fifth for, like, because he's an Imperial Remnant too. He's a pretty easy farm. He's a pretty easy gear. He's a nice little tank to maybe have on that team. So we'll give that a try as we go too. And there you go, boys and girls. This is what I believe to be your perfect farming guide for the beginning of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes for all new accounts. I'll put one caveat in there again. I mentioned the ships as I went. You know, we're moving toward Executor. We're going to use those bounty hunters with the Executrix, maybe the Endurance as we go. We'll probably end up farming the Galactic Republic ships and Negotiator with our Get 2 currency. Your Get 2 currency, Guild Event Token 2 currency, should only be used for Negotiator Malevolence. I know this isn't part of the farming guide, but only use it for those two ships until they're both 7 stars. Then you can buy other stuff, okay? And I'm going to do that on this farm. I'm not going to break that rule. I'm also going to farm the Razor Crest and Grievous. I'm not going to break that rule on this farm. This is, and you could also, you could also farm the Revens here, and I would not argue with you at all for a part of your Jedi team for Ground War and just a great team to have, and part of your Sith team for a Place of Power and just a great team to have. I wouldn't argue with you at all. I've done a lot of testing. I really have. I've tested different teams in different assault battles. I tested Iden Versio out there. We tested the Bad Batch in Military Might. We've done a lot of testing of teams. This is it, man. This is the farm. This is the farm. This is your perfect farming guide for the beginning of the game, the early game. And if you're picking up, Lightspeed bundles along the way, keep these teams going on the side. Keep pushing these teams on the side to get your assault battles ready. And that's what we got. How far do you take all these teams? I'm going to say, generally speaking, we're going to be looking at relic levels for most of these teams. Although, if you look at a team like we're going to try Phoenix at Gear 12, and I mentioned the Imperial Troopers. We have to relic Piet for the Executor, but the other ones are going to probably stay at Gear 12 or lower for the assault battles. Your Geos can really be at Gear 12 or lower. You can go with your Mando team here. You could probably take them at I think you can get that event done at Gear 10 or 11 maybe. The rest of them are pretty much going to be relic characters across the board, because that's where their value lies, and that's where they really bring the most value to the game. And there you go. That is part 1, Nooch 2 Perfect. This is the account that I'll be farming starting in May. You guys are welcome to start along with me. Let's see what happens. Let's see how quickly we get to level 85 in the game now. I think it's 2 weeks. I think it's 2 weeks, level 85, and we're off and running, getting rewards. And when we get the Executor on this account, I'll consider this account concluded, because we're going to get all the other teams along the way. Everybody, thanks for tuning in today. I'm really glad you were here. Let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. And always remember, Nooch too good.